You've waited a lifetime to look better and feel better, and now here's your chance. Fitness Friday on WNDB. Call 239-0033 and have your questions answered on health, fitness, and a better life. Fitness Friday is brought to you by Bodez by Tasso & Company, 1140 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. And now, here's your host, Tasso Kyriakis.
Welcome to Fitness Friday. Hope everybody's having a great day. Terry, you didn't get to really give your recap real quick, if you want to, of your of the games in the area tonight, because we always want to support the high school athletics in the area. So give us a little showdown real quick.
If you're over on the west side of the county, Madison County at DeLand, which actually that'll be a pretty good game. New Smyrna Beach at Deltona, which is a district game, but that's pretty much. We're figuring that's going to be
that
probably
this. Already set up.
Yeah, that's just like tonight's game with Seabreeze and Pine Ridge. Bartham Trail at Matanzas, and I believe that's a district game also. Pine Ridge at Seabreeze with a district game, and we're pretty sure that what's going to happen there. The big district game really is Lake Mary versus Creek, because I believe if Creek beats Lake Mary, that puts them in the running for the playoffs, and that's at Spruce Creek, and that should be a good game. St. Edward's at Trinity. If Trinity wins, I believe they're in the playoffs. And Atlantic at Cocoa is going to be a really good game. And
now, is that the same Cocoa that beat Seabreeze 2 weeks ago?
No, that was Cocoa Beach. Yes, this is Cocoa.
Yeah,
this is the big.
Cocoa Beach got beat by Spruce Creek.
Right.
But the Cocoa that beat Seabreeze.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good game. I'm not sure if that's a district game or not. I'll have to double check that. And then University at Lyman also is another game going on, and that's at Lyman. So really, that's not even in the Volusia County. So it's sort of Mainland is off. This is their bye week. So it's sort of an off week for our big teams. We're pretty much sure what they're going to do and what's going to happen. But really, this is prepping for the playoffs, because we're getting close to that point. We're 3 weeks away from the playoffs, and that's pretty exciting. I think this time of year, you've got to watch injuries. You've got to take care of your players. But also, you've got to win these district games.
Yeah, you got to win them and get it out. So, all right, well, great. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good crowd out there at the stadium tonight, and we'll keep in touch with you. I don't get to come to the games as much because of one of my friends getting me involed.
Well, you can always follow us on Twitter or on your TuneIn app on your phone.
Are you trending?
We don't know about trending, right now. We don't ever make it that big on Twitter, but you never know. Mainland Seabreeze game, we might be trending next week.
That'll be a chance to trend.
Yeah,
so.
That'll be a big one going on. But
listen,
forward to hearing more about.
You're welcome to stay and throw in, because we had our first dress rehearsal for Dancing with the Stars, and I asked a couple people to call in. When Mitch calls, he says he's going to bring a threat from someone that I already know who it is. But I asked some of the girls and guys that are with us, and so I figured, the person I know best out of the whole group is Mandy Rossmeyer. So I asked Mandy to join us. Hi, Mandy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
So listen, I just wonder. We had our dress rehearsal like the night after you had the weekend of Biketoberfest. Are you recovered from Biketoberfest?
I am now, but Tuesday night I was still a little tired, but I'm back now.
Okay, yeah, your voice sounds a lot more sparky. So, hey, listen, tell us, first of all, so the people that may not know you, tell people who you are and how you're affiliated to the community and why they wanted you like they wanted me in this deal. Besides making me be embarrassed, but
Well, I really don't know why they wanted me. I think we're just the suckers that agreed to do it. But my name's Mandy Rossmeyer Campbell, and my family owns Bruce Rossmeyer's Daytona Harley-Davidson and Destination Daytona. And I work a lot, and I don't know how I got talked into this. I'm not a dancer and never have been, and but it's been kind of fun learning how to dance. Don't you agree? Have you been a dancer, Tasso?
Well, I've Greek danced as a kid, and I love disco because I grew up in the disco age. And my dance instructor is a formerly trained ballerina. So when I said to her, she says, "Well, what kind of music do you like?" I said disco, and she says, "Well, do you have any ideas about what you want to do for the thing? He said, I'd really like to dance like some disco music. No, that's not happening. I said, really? Why not? She goes, we're not doing disco. She says, you have to dance with my boyfriend. You want disco? I said, well, I don't dance with boys. I said, unless it's a special dance at the Greek festival or something like that. But so, it's been a real learning experience because, when I was dancing disco, I just sort of do what I wanted to do kind of deal.
I know.
But you actually got to learn stuff, and you got to get like flexible again, because I lost that flexibility. So, hey, listen, Mandy, hold on one second because we've got someone else calling in. Pat Hugel's calling in, so let's get Pat on the line.
Okay.
Hey, Pat, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
are you all?
Hey, I called you this morning, and you were doing like, you should be a poster boy for like fitness, man. It's Fitness Friday show. Tell them what your first activity was I caught you doing.
I left at 7:30 with my neighbor to ride 12 miles on my bike over the Sea Breeze Bridge and down the beach, back over the Orange Avenue Bridge, and back home.
Man, and that's why you look so good because you look great, and
Thank you.
You look great on the floor. Now we're gonna get to this in a minute about people's experience because Mandy and my suspicions would be that you have a little experience with the ballroom dancing stuff.
Absolutely zero.
Oh man, that I don't believe that after seeing him dance. Do you, Mandy? Do you believe?
No, you did so well, Pat.
Oh,
you
he
did
looked
really good.
Man, he looked good. He had the dress too. He had his jacket on. Look, he had that look going on. I said, this cat knows what he's doing. What is this deal? I felt a little set up to be honest with you.
Well, we all have very good teachers. I mean, with Felix teaching Eva and Joe working with Mandy and your partner Annie, we've all got great teachers. Deidre is incredible.
Yeah.
And she started with me in late May.
Right. Wow.
So we started early so that I could learn these steps, and it's not easy, especially when you put high-heeled shoes on, dance for an hour and a half, and then try to get out of bed the next day.
Yep. Hey, Pat, so people know who you are because you just had a little introduction from Mandy. First of all, the question I asked you, I said, hey, are you Dorothy Hugel's husband? You said, no, you're not. So tell a little bit about yourself, so how you ended up in this.
Well, I moved down here about 11 years ago, and I own a plastics distribution company called ARC Resin out of Ohio. And I left the company there, and I live here, and we're real involved in Rotary and Warner Christian Academy. And one of the ladies asked me to participate that's in Rotary, Joanne Larman. And I said I would talk to my wife, and we would discuss it. And she said, go have fun. So when I met Deidre and practiced with her, I said, this is going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you all have had as much fun as I've had because it takes a lot of time, but the practices are great exercise, as you know.
Yeah, so far so good. So Mandy, what's been your experience? I mean, like you're so you were like being that your life is involved with Harleys, were you like sort of a rocker and never really did any kind of organized dancing like this? So this is like a total thing? Like were you a cheerleader or anything?
No, I've been a tomboy. I never did anything like this. And Joe has to remind me all the time. Little steps, Mandy. Don't act like you're getting on your motorcycle.
That's what my girl tells me. That's what Annie tells her. You got to take little steps in ballroom dance. I go, oh.
I know, and I'm not. Yeah, I've never danced like where I was. I have someone leading me. He keeps telling me, Mandy, you have to let me lead. So I'm trying. I'm learning a lot. It's been really fun, and he's been a great instructor.
So Pat, have you been told by Deidre that the man is the frame and the girl is the picture?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I had to learn too.
And it's just hard to learn to go from the foxtrot to the cha-cha to the rumba. It's so much information, and there's so many steps, and then they have names for everything.
Right.
And just when they say, "Well, do this step," and well, what's that? Well, we did it yesterday.
That's how I feel. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Right. They give you a step. Right. They give you a step. And then like you start to get it, you like feel really good about it. You say, now we're going to put this one little thing. I need your hands to do this. And when you move, I need your knee to do this. And I go like, what? I said, but then we learned that this way the other day. And he go, yeah, but this is how you got to do it. And I go, so the guy got me into all this. Is sitting right next to me because so Terry Sanders said, you need to know, you need to be Terry Sanders. That's a hell of a wrestler. Terry Savastine is here. And here I was innocently coming in to do my radio show several weeks ago. And he just like grabbed a hold of me and said, you need to do this with these girls. And so Jackie and Eva and them come up to me and start talking to me about doing this. And the first question they asked, with three good looking girls around, you know what they asked me, Pat? Do you like to dance? What are you going to say? Like, right?
Of course, I love to dance.
I love to dance, right? Yeah, I like dancing. Although I dance like Fred Flintstone, my daughter says. That's my first thing. And then bang, all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls from these girls to get involved in this thing. So I'm going like, oh man, I got a business. And Mandy, you just went through Biketoberfest. Like, how you didn't probably have any time to practice at all during that deal.
No, I didn't. And when I went back, in 2 weeks before Biketoberfest, we had our big charity ride that I was really busy with, so I missed a lot of practice, so I have to really buckle down and focus now.
Well, I got to tell you, Mitch is going to call in a little bit, and Mitch says that I'm just going to fire all of us up here because even though it was directed to me, I'm going to let you guys think it was directed to you. Eileen McDermott was talking to Mitch Booth from Love Whole Foods, and she said she was getting ready for Dancing with the Stars. So Mitch says, "Oh yeah, the guy I do the radio station with, he's Dancing with the Stars too." And she says, "Oh yeah, I know him. Tell him I'm going to kick his butt." So I'm going, what? I said, and then I saw, and then, did you see her when she did the waltz at one of the first fundraisers they had? And she's like kicking everybody's butt in the fundraising part of it.
I know, and she's a great dancer.
Yeah, I saw her dance that night. Dude, she just flows across the deal. So we got our work cut out for us. We got another. Is that Eva calling?
That's Eva. You want to talk to Eva?
All right. Hey, Eva.
Hey,
welcome to the
Mandy
party.
and Pat.
Welcome to the party. We're gonna get nasty. No. So, Eva, tell everybody how you got and put it into this competition.
Well, first of all, it sounds like you guys have been having too much fun without me. I run MG Luxury Rentals at MG on Halifax, and Maria Mulder, she had done Dancing with the Stars up in, I want to say, Carolinas, and she's with the Symphony Guild, and she just dropped by my office one day because she knows I throw a lot of events to showcase MG in the Halifax, the 18-acre development. Shameless plug right there. But
good job. Hey, listen, got to make it work for you. Listen, everybody's going to get their thing in today.
Yay. And so we throw a lot of events, and she thought that this would be something that we'd like to, host at times and wanted me to be a part of it. And I said, sure. I've never had dance lessons like Mandy or yourself. I've always been like this tomboy as well. I did sports in high school. No cheerleading or dance. So this has been quite an adventure.
Hey, Pat, so both girls have said that they used to be tomboys, right?
Eva looks like she's been dancing forever.
I know.
Yes, you do.
Mandy put on a show for us Wednesday night with Joe. That was great.
Yeah, Mandy. It's amazing.
But Eva, you were awesome the night because you danced with Felix, who Felix actually came in to help me, know what I should do as a man in the role. I asked him to come work with me a little bit because Annie and him are dance partners, and he was a big help. He's a great instructor, and I know for a fact you guys were holding stuff back that night because I heard you, like you said, I don't have a long dress in, don't lift me. So I know there's some other stuff going on with your routine, and you looked really good from the start. And then naturally the girls have this advantage over us, Pat, because they're just really. I was going to say, have you ever had growing up, we were always under the threat of getting beat up by a tom girl, right? Did you ever think you get beat up by such a good-looking tomboy? Did you ever think that?
They're making this whole event a lot of fun. That's for sure. All the ladies have been wonderful, and all the guys have been great. So it's been a good experience.
And I think it's exciting because they have over 250 tickets sold already, and we should talk about shameless plugs. We should just put it in right now. Go to dbss.org, and I'm hoping you do it for me because I'm like really behind. But Mandy's there, Pat's there, Eva's there, and we all none of us want to be like the last one on the fundraising. So we'd appreciate if you go there. You can sponsor us one of three ways. You can make a $10 commitment online, or you can do it in person with us if you know any of us. You can buy a table for $10 of $750. And you can just buy an individual ticket. But all of us would appreciate that support because it goes to a really good cause. And I have my reason why I got in. Pat, did you know the Symphony Guild before you got involved in this?
Not at all.
Right. And what have you learned? Because I found it very edifying that night that we met at the MG Grand. I always call it the MG Grand, like, you know, Eva, like out in Las Vegas. I think I got it confused.
MD on the Halifax.
On the Halifax. So, but that first night that one event we had there about a month ago, I learned a lot about the program. And what's impressed you about it so far?
Well, I liked it that they're spending a lot of money to get kids involved in the arts, and especially getting them to different symphony events. The only way they're going to get access to the arts is through the symphony, offering to bring them to that, and that's what they said they're spending a lot of their money on. So that's good to hear.
Right, because it specifically goes to the YES program, which is the Youth Enrichment Symphony program that they have. And they've put an awful lot of, like over $1 million into that program. I think the doctor that was there that night. Mandy, what's sort of been your take on this and why you're sort of motivated to help raise money for it?
Well, as soon as they said it helped kids, I was like, okay, I'm in, because I was about to say no. And you know who got me into this is Janet Danhauer.
Oh, Gibby's wife?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man. They didn't want, see how they do. See, Terry, like, did they embarrass you? Like, you know, here, and Eva, so you'll know the story. Here's exactly what happened that day. You and Jackie, and I forget who else the third girl was that came up and asked me if I liked to dance, and of course I said, okay. So I said, yeah. And he nudges me. Terry nudges me, and goes, "You could dance with Eva, isn't she hot?" And I go like, I go like, "Yeah, she is." And all of a sudden, I find out that, oh no, we're going to give you an instructor from up in. And fortunately, I came up with a really good-looking instructor who's really great and very patient because, like, you know, again, you got Fred Flintstone dancing with her here, so it's like, you know. I don't have that athletic flexibility like I used to have when I've trained all the time. So it's that kind of deal for me. So what they do to you, Mandy?
And he's hot.
Yes, she is. But Mandy, what did Janet do to you to get you involved?
Well, she called me at work and told me about it. Would I be interested? And I was like, oh, Janet, come on. You know me. I can't dance. And she's like, but you'll learn, you know. So we went back and forth, and then she had someone from the organization call me, and when they told me that it would, about the YES program and what they were raising money for, I was like, why not? You know, it's a great cause and anything for kids, and I figured it would be a great opportunity to learn how to dance. Now I'm kind of regretting that I'm doing it. I'm nervous.
Well, you know, I love the line that the first line they said to myself. I don't know if they said it to you, Pat, and I don't know if Eva will get to you how they coerce you, but I love the first line that he said, "Oh no, I don't really want to do it." They go, "Oh, no one's danced before." No, and then you get out there and you see Pat, you see Eva, like I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, am I in trouble?" It's like that's the worst thing we could do is go out because you know we got enough friends in the area, and I don't know Pat and Eva, I don't know how connected you are, but you know we like grew up here. It's like we're gonna walk out on Monday morning and people are going, you know, people are looking like they're gonna bring their cameras and we're gonna be on YouTube and stuff like that. You know,
oh dear.
You know, see Fat Astaire at his best. You know, kind of deal. Gene Belly rocks the house. I can see the headlines now.
You know, I feel like we're getting sandbagged right now.
The
like
hardest part is walking out on
and
that dance floor the other
Astaire.
night in front of everyone, and you want to be comfortable, and your mind goes blank. I don't know how to dance. I have no clue what steps to take, and your mind really is tough. So it takes a lot of practice to just get confident enough to walk on that dance floor because I did not have it the other night.
Well, and I was shaking in my boots too, but and once again I want to do the shameless promotion. dbss.org. Go there and sponsor one of us. You know, I wish I would have thought to get all 8 of the dances on, but you know, I feel very comfortable. I met Pat first time the other night, and Pat, you're a wonderful person, a great personality, and I think you coming on the show and starting off with just remind us how patient and how great our instructors are for us.
They are very patient and great teachers.
Yeah, they're all doing a great job. And then Eva, what's been your impression of the support for the Symphony Guild in that?
They have just been 100% behind this whole program. And I just want to say that, like, this program, the Symphony Guild, the YES program, is actually something inspirational for me because I actually grew up playing the clarinet for 4 years and the alto sax in the marching band, and they got to go to symphonies and concerts as a kid. And it's these programs that help support, you know, in conjunction with the band system in schools to get the kids out and encourage them to see, you know, the professionals doing the arts live. And it's just so inspiring that music can be in your head, and when you start dancing, it flows throughout your body. So this is the first experience I've had at dancing, and it's just another form of art that inspires you through music.
Well, you know, my story's a little different than you guys. Is I've always liked dancing, and you know, the guy and I'm the, you know, Pat, you in talking to you, you're pretty refined and sound like, you know, like you have the arts as part of your balance in your life, and I really, you know, being an athlete most of my life and stuff, you know, my mom was always my dad was a professional clarinet player, Eva, so it's sort of neat that you have that background, but you know, my mom was always pushing me to try and go into the band and be in the music, and I'd do it to appease her and stuff. But as I got older, you know, I really focused on my academics and my athleticism, and so I really was not into the arts. You know, I had friends like Mark Davidson who were really into the arts, and then Mark was one of my clients, and he tells me his dad, Tippin, is going to come work out. Now, I don't know if Eva, if you've been around long enough to know who Tippin Davidson, or if Pat does.
Yeah, I do.
And I think that we I don't know the word, we overlooked the wonderful contribution that he made to this community with what he's done, even and to a fault where it basically put him in a predicament with his business. But, you know, Tipton came in, and this guy lived the passion of the arts, and he transferred that to me. He really got me. I started going back to, we had the Seaside Music Theater and the things that we had that he brought, because he just attracted you like a magnet. And so he passed away, and I remember saying to, when I was talking to my girlfriend about doing this, I said, you know, she said, well, why would you want to do it? What's the big reason you want to do it? And I said, well, the number one reason, to be honest with you, is because this was Tippin's passion. And this is a way to repay Tippin for reinstilling that passion in me. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about it. Is all of us have our reasons. We have a great thing going on from that standpoint. So I'm really glad to have met you guys through this, and I think it's going to be a wonderful event. And I hope that all of us have a great experience and raise an awful lot of money. Terry's tapping his hand because he wants to put his 2 cents in.
Tasso, you're going to thank me for this someday.
Yeah, I know exactly how I'm going to thank you. Let me tell you how I'm going to thank you. I get the opportunity to be on the sidelines when I'm not dancing, because I haven't made a football game this year.
You're going to be at the Mainland Series game?
Depends if Andy says I'm dancing. If Andy says my ass is dancing, my ass is dancing. So I'm listening. I'm a good listener right now. So here's how it's going to end for Terry. He's going to be on the sidelines doing that thing. I'm going to be standing behind him, and there's going to be 2 big old linemen running out of bounds to get out of bounds, and they're not under control. And when everybody goes to move, I'm going to be that guy that pushes Terry into the 2 linemen to break everybody else's fall. And he's going to be there in a little crushed little thing, and I go, someday you're going to thank me for this, Terry. So now, just so you guys know, I wasn't talking smack. Mitch is on the line, and so I'm going to let Mitch tell you directly.
Okay, we're going to get rid of everybody else. We're going to have 12 people on it.
We're going to have 12 people on for a minute.
Because it's going to get real ugly at the end when we try to start hanging up on them.
Okay.
So I got to lock in that one, and we'll pick up Mitch there.
Hi, Mitch.
Hey, how you doing, Tasso?
So, Mitch, we have 3 other of the dancers on with us. We have Eva, we have Pat, and we have Mandy Rossmeyer on. So you were talking to someone. We're going to talk about your event in just a minute, but you were talking to someone out of the DeLand area, west side of the county. Tell us about your thing when you called me the other day and said, hey, there's this girl, and she says, you know.
Well, I can't use it's a family radio show, but I'm having my costume made by put together by one of the best tailors in Daytona Beach, and there's this beautiful damsel who's getting fitted for this stunning gown, and I said to myself, whoa. And she turns to me as I'm waiting my turn, and she's getting fitted, and she said, well, what do you think? Should we put the spangle on the straps or drop the straps? And I said, well, it depends on who you're trying to impress. And she said, Tasso.
No, she didn't.
And her name is Eileen McDermott. And she lives in Port Orange, just down from our Port Orange store on Taylor Road. And so we got into, and we just got into this great discussion, and she's just psyched, and she's got her and her partner are targeting you. So I got to tell you, you're in big trouble.
Wow. Like I needed to hear that, right? I was in trouble.
I don't know if she
said,
can dance or not, but I got to just tell you, I give her a 10 just standing there in the dress.
Listen, you haven't seen the women that are in this deal. I mean, all the women are 10s, you know.
Uh-oh, all right. Well,
so, listen, I got to tell you all this. I thought, okay, the one thing I'm going to do good. I figured the one thing I would when they start telling you about what the trophies were, because we're all naturally competitive, right?
Right.
You know, so I go like this. I go like, all right, I know I ain't going to win that damn crystal ball, but I know I can fundraise like a son of a gun, right?
Right.
And then
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the same. She was just excited that there's this level of excitement about the event, and it's going to raise money. That's the purpose of it.
Well, we'll have to give her equal time. Mitch, I'm going to ask you to just sort of
You put him on hold.
to pipe down for just a minute. Let me finish up with everybody who's kind enough to join us on the thing. So
I still want to find out who's on line 4 there, too.
Yeah. We need to find out what to call it, fitness, dancing, or whatever it is, football. So I really appreciate Pat, Eva, Mandy. I know you guys have busy schedules. I really appreciate you guys calling in today. Final thoughts, final encouragement to the people who are listening to the show to go to DBSS or contact you guys. DBSS.org is the website to help support this event. Ladies first. Eva?
It's an amazing event. It's in Daytona. It's the first time we're having it here at the Hilton, and it's just going to be spectacular. And I can't wait to see Tasso sandbag all of us. We do.
Yeah, you got that. I got that sandbag thing for you right now. So, Mandy?
Just like you guys, I want to encourage everyone to go to the website and vote. It's $10 to vote, and then individual tickets are $75. I'm not sure that we said that. So everybody come out and support a great cause, and let's all just have fun doing it.
Hey, listen, if there's over 250 people or 240 already, just think we could have an event that has maybe 500-600 people. What a great night that would be. And now, Pat, you talk about being scared. I think we're going to need to bring extra drawers if there's that many people, because just with the other dancers there the other night, I was like, oh my God. It's like I'm shaking while I'm out there going like, and I got to tell you a funny story. Here's when I first big wrestling match I was ever in when I was in college. You know, in Florida, we would wrestle, and maybe you'd have a couple hundred people when you wrestled in high school. That'd be a big match, right? And so then in college, you got to, when we wrestled like Florida or something like that, we might have 500 people. Well, we go up to wrestle Temple in Philadelphia, right? It's the last match before thing. And we walk into the Coliseum that they have there, and I walk in there, and I'm podunk from Daytona Beach, Florida. Man, I've never been out of the state of Florida. It's the first time I'm a sophomore in college. It's the first time I've ever seen snow. First time I ever ice skated, anything like that. So we go up into there, and we get there early, and we go into the gymnasium. Well, at least that's what I thought it was a gymnasium. And it has like 10,000 seats in it. And so we go in there and said, man, this is a pretty cool basketball place, but where's the basketball nets? There's no basketball nets, because what I didn't know at the time, that all it was used for was gymnastics and wrestling. So you go into a tunnel, we change in the tunnel, we do our weigh-ins, we go have our pregame meal, we come back. So now we come out, and we come to run out of this tunnel. And as we're running out of the tunnel, my roommate says to me, who's our 67-pounder, he looks at me, he says, listen, when we run out of the tunnel, don't look up. I go like, why? He goes, just don't look up. Just get to the mat and start warming up. Well, the minute we come out of the tunnel, there's this roar, right? I mean, it's just like the boos are coming, right? So I can't help it. What do? I look up. So I'm looking up, and my eyes are gazing up. There's like 8,000 people in this. I hit the edge of the mat. I trip. And to make myself look good, I do a forward roll, come back up, and start running again. I'm going like, and now my heart's really big. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when we get out there on the thing if there's 500 people there? I mean, it's like my theme to hold this thing is I used to entertain 4 people at a time golfing with them because they'd be entertained by it. Now I got to tell you, it's like we might have 500 people to make laugh at once. So I think it's going to be a great night.
Yes.
Pat, your final parting deal?
We have Sweet 16 coming, 8 dancers and 8 professionals, and they're all a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time, and I think it'll be a sold-out event.
Well, I hope so.
People need to get their tickets quickly.
So, hey, listen, guys, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. It's going to be a fun event. Maybe we'll get Christy and Eileen and the other ones on for one more show before we get the big show going. So God bless you guys, and continued success with the dancing, and I look forward to us all looking great that night because we're all stars in our own right. So thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
My
This was
pleasure.
amazing.
All right, and I hope all you prosper.
All right.
All
Hey,
right.
let's find out who this Dave Bailey is that
All right.
asked specifically to talk to Tasso. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Hi, welcome to Fitness Friday, Dave.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I always listen to your show. I have a dual Bailey's Best, and we play live foxtrot, rumbas, sambas, merengues,
okay.
cha-chas.
So what you're saying is we want to
play
practice
at
live.
We play at City Island, the senior dances here every Friday.
Oh, that's neat. So
And I've been playing for about 49 years. We do a lot of senior dances over in Orlando and around, and I'd like to find out when you're performing here. I listened to your show, but I forgot what the date was.
All right.
The
You're
event-
Dancing with the Stars.
Well, the event is on November the 10th. It is at the Hilton. And for more information or tickets and for other contact, because you may be able to be a resource that night to them, dbss.org. It's the benefit to Symphony Guild, and specifically it's benefiting the youth program, the youth enrichment program. And so, and actually people who are listening also, it's at the Hilton. You can go online, dbss.org. You can buy tickets for $75. You can buy a table of 10, or you can just sponsor your favorite dancer, who I hope now is me, for $10. And it all goes to the charity. And I appreciate that. And Dave, I think Jackie and them are the people you'd want to contact if you want to roll with that event. But my instructor's been encouraging me to go to some events and actually dance, and I'm going I'm still too scared to do it.
There you go, Tasso. Now here's an opportunity for you after this. You can keep
you're in
dancing.
control when you're on that floor, you know.
You can keep dancing, Tasso, and you're old enough. You're a senior too.
You know, Dave,
Yeah.
you better call evac because Terry's not making it out of the building today. Dave, I appreciate you giving a call in, and I hope that you're able to help out and enjoy this event with us. I appreciate it very much, and I hope you continued success, because 49 years of being a musician and doing this, you've got to be over 50, huh?
Yeah, I'm 73. I'll tell you.
bless
Oh, cool.
You sound really lively too, and you know I love dancing because I think people, they move in so many planes when they're dancing. It keeps them so healthy and flexible. I've seen my flexibility increase during it. Do you dance as well as play the music?
I do some, but I don't know the fancy steps. I don't know. I just was going to tell you also that my mind just came a blank, and that's something. Anyway, where do you practice? You go to some of these places, the USA, or what?
Actually, where they had an event night before last at the ballroom place on Hand Avenue. But where I've been going to the Flagler Playhouse, because that's the easiest. Annie comes from St. Augustine, so that's the easiest place for us to meet in the middle. And I've been doing lessons with her.
Yep.
So.
Well, where could I see you? Up at your place?
Yeah, that's the best place.
Okay.
All right, Dave. Thank you very much.
All right. You still have Mitch hanging on.
And I got
think.
Mitch hanging on.
Yeah, nothing new. Dave knows for
Yep,
sure.
that's for sure.
All right, so Mitch, I'm gonna let you tell us a little bit about Terry Lemmeren's visit and what's going on with that, because this is gonna be a major event coming in to help people out. So let's talk about who.
Well, we got two events. The first one is a fun event with a real serious subject on Monday night at Cinematique. For those listeners that want to get up to speed on the serious issue of genetic modification of our food supply, we're renting, Love Whole Foods is renting Cinematique. They're right at the corner of Beach Street and ISB in downtown Daytona. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's going to be a costume optional. Anyone who shows up as their favorite fruit or vegetable is going to be a chance to win a gift certificate. There's also going to be a raffle for some non-genetically modified cornucopia food basket. So that's the first one. That's big. And I was just at Stetson last night, a PhD in biogenetics from Stetson, from our own educational institution, gave a talk on how serious this is. So anybody that wants to get up to speed, please join us. That's going to be great. A great evening to learn something. The movie's narrated by Mrs. Oz. It's Liz Oz of Dr. Oz fame. And it even features our local doctor, Joseph Mercola, He's a major contributing force on just trying to figure out why, for example, gluten is now such a major allergen, or anybody out there that's suffering from inflammation that's not responding to drugs, and just can't seem to get underneath it. I would say this is a good place to start. And then we'll make that as a segue. I just put up that billboard on I-95. It's real simple, Tasso. It says, if you've got pain, show up for our event on November 7th. We're having one of the greats. And I got to just say, he is a true giant in the natural food industry. Terry founded enzymatic therapy. He was the man that introduced glucosamine sulfate in 1992 to America. I mean, there isn't a listener out there that doesn't either take it or certainly know about glucosamine. And now he's done it again. He's taken and introduced turmeric. He's made turmeric part of the national discussion. And as you know, turmeric's that incredible spice that's used not only in Greek cuisine, but Thai, certainly a signal element of Indian cuisine. But what Terry's done is he's elevated the turmeric to a pharmaceutical system with a delivery of either a tablet or a capsule that gives consistent results to just put out the fire from scalp to toes, whatever you've got, arthritis, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. In any of the listeners that come, it's a free lecture. It's not even a lecture. Terry's going to just tell a story. And there will be other people in the community giving testimonials. I just talked with a guy yesterday that literally from the time that I gave him a sample in the store, by the time he got back to work from his lunch break, he had such an improvement, he gave me a call back. So I just have to say, everyone that comes is going to get a 95-page booklet with all of the research done by M.D. Anderson, the Moffitt Center, the Dallas University Cancer Center. It's all documented. This isn't an infomercial. This isn't a way to just sort of move merch. This is a genuine opportunity to use a nutraceutical, a natural substance, which, by the way, is compatible with all pharmaceutical drugs. It isn't meant to replace anything. It's just that if you're struggling, you're not getting an improvement, add this to the mix and see if you can break this cycle of inflammation.
So, Mitch, let's give them the dates of the event and where it's going to be held in that. And,
right. The Cinematique, again, is Monday night, 7 o'clock. That's at ISB and Beach Street, downtown Daytona Beach, right at the bridge. And the Terry Limerod presentation, the God Pain presentation, is going to be at the Ormond campus, one night only, November 7th. That's Thursday, November 7th. And there's going to be entertainment. It's really going to be a customer appreciation night. There's going to be hors d'oeuvres, some refreshments. There's going to be some entertainment, and I don't know, who knows, we might even get Tasso to do a dance demonstration.
Actually, won't be there. It's the first night of the Greek festival, so I'm going to fulfill an obligation because I'm not going to Vegas. So I will be there with my friends at the Hedo booth and helping out. I think poor Irene had thought that she was going to have a very quiet festival in the Hedo booth this year, but unfortunately I've ruined that for her again with me being there with all the gang. So
yeah, if this weather holds, the November 7th is going to be an outdoor tent event. If the Greek festival gets this kind of weather, I got to tell you, it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, I appreciate Mitch you joining us. Once again, November 7th is at the Ormond store. It'll be a packed house.
Yep, outdoor tent event.
And then also we have the Cinematique event that's going to go on Monday.
Yep, this coming Monday. And it's Love Whole Foods, located in Port Orange and in Ormond Beach. You got it. Look for our billboard on I-95. Got pain? Get it gone. Stop by. It's free. Thanks, Toss. I really appreciate it.
All right, Mitch. Thank you.
Hey, Dave. Nice to hear your voice.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. So I promised that I was going to do 7 reasons.
You got 15 minutes
I
to
got
get it
15
in.
minutes. I think I can do it, Dave. I know we have a history where I don't do well on these things because I start to talk too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in a synopsis form very quickly, go through it, and then we'll deal with the extra time we have left. So here's why do I strength train? Someone asked me that question the other day, and I realized that most people don't know the answer to this question. And to be clear, they know that they're drawn to it because they know that it's the base at some level. They have an intuitive knowledge that they need to do something that maintains the muscle skeletal tissue. So, but they don't really understand the benefits of a properly performed strength training program. This is true for beginners as well as the zealots. I have triathletes that I train and work with. And I think triathletes for the most part are overtrainers because of their enthusiasm for the most part. But they have a tremendous drive that I admire. When you see 50, 55-year-old people that get up 7 days a week, and they'll come in and tell you they're not fit, and they swam 1,800 to 5,000 yards that day. They biked 30 miles and they ran 6 miles. They'll tell you, well, I'm not in as good a shape as I need to be, and their goal is to get in better shape. And you're going like, what the heck is this guy talking about? But the thing is I have those guys come in and they will tell me, hey, my friend says I need to come here because they're an athlete and they come here, but I don't need a workout buddy. But they actually learn the benefits of being able to have someone that takes and drives that program for you and designs it and takes every individual thing that occurs within your body and changes. So, but why is it obvious, although it's overlooked? Here's an important place to start. First of all, note I'm going to say is, the smarter you strength train, the more benefit. And see, there's a lot of things going on in fitness as a whole here, where we're using strength as a core for it, but we're doing it in such weird ways. And I'm just going to put it out there that I think for the common people that need fitness the most, the boot camps and the CrossFit, those aren't the things for those people. Because there are joint issues, there's ballistic impact. I'm not knocking those things. They're just not for the broad population. They may be for that 5 to 10% that's very fit and doesn't have joint problems. Okay? But the first one is cardiometabolic health. We often think about strengthening means only simply to improve your strength and performance and appearance. But strengthening also plays a critical role in preventing chronic disease such as heart disease and diabetes, which has been talked about, and fighting inflammation. Every adult should engage in proper strength training because of the benefits that occur from that sympathetic parasympathetic pathway we've talked, that you work yourself to where you challenge the body and overload the body, and you force the body to go into a parasympathetic healing process. That is of huge benefit to us, which raises metabolism, which we'll talk a little bit more about. The second one is increased bone mineral density. A lot of people say, well, I know my doctor says I need to do weight-bearing exercise. So they go play tennis. They ride a bike hard. They do that. Well, stronger bones help prevent fractures. And the thing about it is, how do they help prevent that? The best study that was done at the University of Florida, that study had 650 women in it. All of them were postmenopausal. They had osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. All of them were facing osteoporosis in a huge way, at least osteopenia. What they did with these people is they did great bone density measurements on them. Then they broke them up into different groups. Now, when I say 650 was the group that Ken Hutchinson and Brenda Hutchinson took through strength training. That group, training 3 days a week back when they did it in 1984, increased bone density by 50% more than any other technique they used. They had people that played just tennis. They had people that just had good diets. They had people that did the walking. They had 6 different groups to look at, as well as their control group. Okay? What did they see? They had a group actually when Fosamax was first coming up that was taking calcium and Fosamax. And these people that strength trained just had a good diet, they improved bone density 51% more than the people who were doing all these other activities. Now what we know today with the super slow protocol that was used there, we know that over the long term, 1 to 2 days a week is sufficient. But what has to come in is the intensity, because here's the science of it very quickly. If you were to look at your bone under a microscope today, you'd see that on the outside of that bone, there's plus minuses charges all around the bone. When you were young and when bone is being deposited, and calcium is being deposited because the epiphyseal plate is open, if you look at that bone underneath a microscope, there's going to be plus charges on one side and minus charges on the other side. We don't know well, I don't know how to explain how that all works, but we know that that's the condition.
You lost me at good morning, everyone.
So what happens is when you strength train and you use a weight that puts your bone under stress enough to have to engage itself,
Right.
that plus minus charge that we have walking around normally, all of a sudden it's changed where all the charges line up on one side plus and all the charges on
plus,
minus.
yeah.
So during that course of being under that load,
Stress.
that stress that you put on,
Right.
that good stress,
Good stress.
the body is now depositing calcium back into the bone. That process is reenacted. That only occurs for 60 seconds at a time when you're strength training if you're doing it properly, but that's the benefit and the reason for it. Number 3 is the benefit is to prevent muscle atrophy and the age-related wasting of muscle known as sarcopenia. You know, we've talked a lot about most of the people that are in convalescent homes aren't there because they have a disease, aren't there because they have a disorder. What do they have? They're there because they've lost so much lean body tissue that they can't physically, endurance-wise, walk up a set of steps and carry a 5-pound bag of groceries. So the functionality...
Can't walk without falling.
That's right. So after the age of 40, we progressively lose muscle. It doesn't matter how active we are, how much cardio we do, our muscles atrophy. If you don't know what atrophy is, it means waste away at basically the same rate as our sedentary counterparts. So again, if you're doing aerobic exercise, that's great, but you're losing your muscle at about the same pace as someone who does nothing. The other part of it is if you are an overtrainer where you're doing 5, 6, 7 days of cardiovascular,
That's me.
Okay, then you're wasted at an even faster rate if you're not doing strength training and getting rest after your strength training. Strength training allows us to retain and increase our muscle mass across our lifespan. There are studies that show 90-year-olds significantly increasing their lean body mass. Now, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have a guy named Gary Reinl. He was the co-author with Wayne Westcott, and he just did a comprehensive book that talked about proper strength training. He's the guy that you read the study, the sort of like the benchmark study for 90-year-olds training was done in a Jewish community center, assisted living facility up in New York with about 70 people. And they took the people and measured their functional performance. He's the guy that oversaw that. We're going to have him within the next 30 days on our show. The fourth benefit of why I strength train is to improve functional capacity. The only true functional training is to train our muscles because our muscles are what cause the function. You know, I'm doing a lot of that functional stuff with what I'm doing dancing. I'm having to work on my flexibility because as I exercised, I didn't stay as good with my range of motion work during it. I became a little bit too involved with how much I lifted, that 1-rep demonstration. So now what I'm doing is I'm working from the standpoint of I have no problem with the functional aspect of the strength of holding my frame when I dance or when I'm doing my activities. So strength training, when you train properly, you don't have to go out and do all this other functional stuff because if you keep your pace, you keep your posture, and you keep momentum out of the exercise, you're going to improve your functional fitness and strength and what we call core muscles. Improving your metabolic rate is number 5. As we lose muscle, our metabolic rate goes down. Dr. William Evans, who's a PhD at Duke University, asserts that the reduction in our metabolism as we age is solely linked to our loss of muscle tissue, back to that sarcopenia. The more muscle tissue we have, the greater our metabolic rate, the number of calories that we expend when we're working out and while we're resting. Additionally, each time we strength train, we now see that there is a benefit that we can acutely increase our metabolic rate by 7 to 10% for the next 2 to 3 days. Some of the numbers show that for 38 hours after a vigorous hard strength training routine that pushes you into your anaerobic threshold, you are still burning fat stores because your body has to go. You know, we run on blood sugar as our quick source of energy, but as we deplete that blood sugar, we have to go to the muscle, and the muscle needs sugar. What is it called? It's called muscle glycogen. So when we get in that anaerobic threshold where we're burning that muscle glycogen, what we do, we deplete that fat store, that muscle store of that. So what happens is now we have to go into our fat stores for those 30 hours after your workout to recruit and mobilize blood sugar, take it out, and go replenish the muscle glycogen. That's the only time. And it also reverses that diabetic process of being insulin heavy. The sixth one is to improve cognitive function. We want to enhance self-esteem and combat depression. The oft-heard and most cliched expression is, my workout just makes me feel better. Actually has very significant scientific credibility. Over the last 2 years, I've talked a lot on this show about the things that address the hormonal balance of the body. And that hormonal balance that we're changing is where this cognitive function comes from. We now know that when we are taking things like statin drugs and things like that,
Right.
we tend to reduce our leptin and we reduce ghrelin, which are two hormones that have to do with our appetite control. But they also have to do with brain function. We know that they're major contributors to replacing brain tissue and keeping it healthy. Well, guess what happens? If you're overweight and you're insulin dominant and you are diabetic and you're overweight, guess what happens? Because that liver and pancreas are overworking to accommodate that diabetic, high sugar type of situation, you're not producing in balance your leptin and your ghrelin. Now, as you start to exercise, you begin to produce more of it. So you can't take it in a supplement and get it done. What we do is we want to eat in a manner and we want to work out. Remember the synergy that we always talk about here is moderate aerobic exercise, attention to your lean body tissue through strength training, and good nutrition and eating, okay? Number 7 is to enhance athletic performance. From distance runners to golfers to football players to just the dancer that's on the floor. Proper strength training improves performance and wards off injury. So those are my...
There you go. You made it.
All 7 reasons.
Did it in about 11 minutes.
Now, I know that that Catalina will post a smaller version of this on our Facebook. And if you want to, you can go to Bodez by Tasso and Company, Facebook, and friend us so you can get access to all these things. You'll get updates with our Zumba class that we have. We have Zumba class with my instructor, Annie, every Wednesday night. We're taking the money we accrue there, and we're going to take, let's say we get $150 profit.
Right.
We're going to buy 2 tickets to the event over to Hilton. And what we're going to do when we buy those 2 tickets, we're going to take all the names of all the people, and every time they come to the Zumba class,
They get another.
we're going to get another thing, and we're going to
Another
pull
entry.
the week of November 5th. We're going to pull the ticket
Fun.
so that some people get. So we have 3 tickets we can buy, 5 tickets we can buy. We'll pull the ticket. We'll call you, and you can come to the event and see
Fun.
me and the other people you heard on the radio show, plus the ones we talked about. Be
Let
on
me
there.
ask you this: do they eat before they see you dance, or they eat after?
Wow,
You're going to want to eat before,
They
or
may
maybe
want to
you're
drink.
not.
They may want to drink heavily. I don't know.
That's a given. That's a given. I was wondering about the food, though. You know how well it sits in your
Well,
stomach.
I got to tell you, don't base it on what I do. Base it on there are some very beautiful people that are involved in this. I mean,
Other beautiful people.
Other beautiful people that are involved in this. The girls are just stunning, and to watch them be so graceful and dance is going to be awesome. Listen, every one of them that were on the phone today, and we all have the same background for that type of thing. They're going to be stunning when they come out. And the guys, I think, are going to put on a great show. I haven't gotten to know John that well yet, and I introduced myself to the young man that's from Brown and Brown Company, and I'll get to know them a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll have them on the show to promote this because I think it's a great event. You know, we didn't do any kind of promoting, and I want to do some promoting for Bodez Personalized Fitness. Remember that at Bodez Personalized Fitness this month, when you join as a single member, you will receive a family membership until January the 1st. Now, being the marketeer that I am, somewhere in that time, I'm going to give you some sort of advantage to join up and keep the whole family. But if you have a family of 6, you got 4 kids, your wife, you know, whatever, how big your family is, for the single member dues, which is $59.50 a month,
Right.
you will receive our supervised exercise program.
very cool.
You'll receive our program where we set your machines, we set your seat heights, we guide your program. You also get our Body by Science program, which is our computerized burst training for our general population. Now, in the one-on-one, we have the very sophisticated cardio coaching that we do, that we work and we monitor your heart rate during the whole time. But we get great results in our Take It Off program with this burst training that we have. So the phone number is 672-6464, Bodez by Tasso and Company. And I want to remind everybody, our other co-sponsor of this show is Dr. Fon. He didn't get a chance to call in because he's going to a conference this week. His number is 615-1203. He, on November the 4th, is having a big event out at the college at DSC.
Really?
In the auditorium. And he's going to have Dr. Price, who is a guest here, who is like in his late 80s and is a national champion water skier.
Water skier,
videographer,
director.
Yeah, so I want to put that out there. So and I want to make sure Dr. Fine gets on with us next week before that event, November 4th at the DSC. Remember, 672-6464, Bodez by Tasso and Company, where we start your fitness where you're at and get you where you want to be. God bless. Go out and support the high school football games this week. and hug your kids. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in to Fitness Friday, and go to dbss.org and support Tasso for Dancing with the Stars.
WNDB Daytona Beach. First in local news. Fox News updates at the top of every hour. Online at newsdaytonabeach.com.